Hey guys, I'm Chase Brogan. Today in this video we're going to unbox, demo, and review the DY19 portable plug-and-play handheld game console that doubles as a portable power bank as well. This has a 10,000 milliamp hour battery on here, so you can not only game on the go, but also charge different devices like a smartphone on the go as well. I picked this up on AliExpress for just under 30 bucks. In fact, I think the price has actually dropped. I just checked before starting this video and is currently priced at around $27. So prices obviously fluctuate on a regular basis on AliExpress, so take that into consideration, but under 30 bucks to be safe, this is a phenomenal option. But we gotta check it out, we gotta see what's included on here. It comes with this micro SD card with a 32 gigabyte capacity to it, so this is where all your games are gonna be. But let's unbox this and see what we've got inside. Alright guys, here it is. This is our portable game console right here. Can't wait to dive into this. We've got a 6-button configuration on here. We've got our A, B, R, Y, X, and L buttons right on here. So 6-button configuration. We've got a reset button over here, start button dead center, select button over there on the left-hand side. Analog stick right here. Feels a little bit constricted. There's a nice pad on top, nice rubber pad you can see here, but as I move it, it feels like we hit the edge here before the actual post, hits the furthest point that it can go. So I feel like that's kind of obstructing our range of motion a little bit, but we'll see how it is in game. D-pad right over here feels quite raised up. I mean, look at the action on this as we push it down. It's got a long way to go. Not the smoothest D-pad, feels pretty constricted there as well, but hey, if this can provide power to different devices on the go, and then also play some games, I'm happy. So speaker right here facing us, the user, which I always love, hate when there's speakers on the back side. Down here at the bottom, this is where we would use this as a portable power bank, because first off, we have our audio connection. So if you want to bring headphones into the mix here, maybe you're in the back of a car on a long trip, you don't want to bother the people around you while you're playing games, headphone jack there. Everything else on here is going to be for providing power to external sources. So USB-A port, Type-C port, another port right here, I forget what that one's called, but don't use that a whole heck of a lot these days. And then we have our button here that shows us the percentage that it is charged. So we're currently at 71%. Love that we have a visual display to gauge the the amount of battery that we have left on the power bank here. And here's our connection. So right here is going to be for a iOS device. So if you have like an iPhone 14 and below, you would use this. And then on the other side here is where we'll find our Type-C cable. So if you have an iPhone 15 and up, you would use this one right here, or of course other smartphone devices, microphones, stuff like that that you would charge on the go. Now up here at the top, this is going to be our power button. Over here we have volume control, and then we have our TF slot right here. So we'll grab our 32 gigabyte micro SD card here. Of course there's tape over it. There we go. And worth mentioning that this is in fact a regular generic card. So make sure that you back this up. I always recommend backing up to like a SanDisk or Samsung product. They just are way more reliable. So that's inserted in. Do we have anything else on the back side here? Nope, nothing else. So I do want to show you guys a couple other connections here though. We have these cables that were provided. This is a USB-A to Type-C cable. That's how you're going to charge this. Just simply insert it in down there like so. This end can go into a laptop. It could go into a power outlet if you support USB-A connections on your power outlets. And then over here we have some AV cables. So you can actually plug these in down here at the bottom as well. And you can bring this up onto an older style TV. I mean, I would love to see this be, like an HDMI connection rather than that, but it is what it is. Here is our user manual as well. So if we walk through this, goes through everything that was provided for us. We had the audio connection there as well. And let's see, walks through some maintenance and setup information here. So nicely laid out. Let's dive into the handheld now. So I'm going to go ahead and just simply flip that switch up there at the top, which should power everything right up. There we go. All right, so I'm really impressed by the display here. I'm going to actually lower the volume. So you can see that little toggle right there actually enables you to lower it, or if you go to the right, it raises it. But really love the fact that this is a super bright screen. I'm really blown away by this. I was expecting this to be kind of a crappy, look to this, in all honesty, but it looks pretty good so far. So we have some titles up here. Looks like Street Fighter 2 at the top. Let's see what else we have here. We've got some King of Fighters 97, Metal Slugs over here, Samurai. So it doesn't really give us a whole lot of detail here. I mean, everything's abbreviated, so some of these I know, some of those I'd have to click on to know. But these are individual titles. Now, if we go down here to the bottom, and you can use your analog stick or your D-pad to navigate, but if we go down here to the bottom, we have Capcom System 1. I'm going to hit the A button to select that. 28 games inside of Capcom System 1, and they do look to be proper. Sometimes you have a mismatch of games in here. No, they're not all Capcom titles. There are a lot of Capcom titles in here, but not all of them are. So sometimes they get, kind of miscategorized here. But we have The Punisher in here. We have a bunch of Street Fighter titles in here. Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, Captain Commando, Dynasty Wars, Final Fight. So definitely some good titles. 28 games in total in this one collection. So if we hit B, does that back us out? Let's see how we back out of here. All right, not really sure how we back out of this. Maybe select. All right, so select backs us out. Cool. Capcom System 2 next. Let's jump in here. 29 games in Capcom System 2. We have some Street Fighter titles in here. Alien vs. Predator. Capcom Sports Club. Dungeons and Dragons. Giga Wing. Marvel Superheroes, Marvel vs. Capcom, what else? Mega Man 2, Vampire Savior, some X-Men in here. All right, so we'll hit select to back out again. Next collection is Neo Geo. So let's see what we have for Neo Geo. 135 games. Wow, that's a lot of Neo Geo games. We've got the King of Fighters in here, some Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon in here. So I will say that not all of these collections are, the true collection. I mean, you have some random games thrown into the mix here, but this looks pretty sweet. We got some Fatal Fury in here. We've got, of course, my all-time favorite for Neo Geo, and I think most people's. Of course, we've got our Metal Slug in there. Baseball Stars is cool. Baseball Stars 2. What else we have? Definitely a good assortment in here. And we will jump into some demos here at the tail end of this video just to make sure everything works properly and to gauge what the performance is like on here. Puzzle Bobble. Cool. All right, so we're going to back out of this one. I definitely want to, I keep hitting B to back out. Next collection just has 6 titles. We've got Knights of Valor in here. We've got Dragon World 2 in here. Oriental Legend in here. So not a whole lot in this collection. And then we have Search and we have Folder. Let's, oh wow, there's more games over here. Let's see what Folder has. It's probably just settings and stuff like that. Oh wow, 4,201 games in here. So this is just our folder. I see some arcade titles in here. We got some 1942, 1943, Three Ninjas Kickback, excuse me. This might be our, we've got Real Monsters in here. Interesting. This might be like our master list, I'm not sure. So we're gonna actually back out of this because I think we'll get to all that stuff as we can proceed through here. So we got Family Computer next, and this is going to give us 868 games right here. So if we go through here, we've got some Contra. These are not in alphabetical order. We got some Double Dragon, but they don't appear to be. Yeah, so Donkey Kong comes in after Mega Man, so definitely not alphabetical order, which makes it a little bit tough to find what you're looking for, but we've got Donkey Kong Jr., Donkey Kong 3 in here. Ninja Turtles, Ninja Gaiden, we've got 1942, 43, and 45. Wow. Aladdin. Angry Birds. Lots of good stuff in here. I'm really impressed. Hopefully all of this works because this is great. We got some Batman titles. Love Batman, especially the arcade one. Wow, lots of good stuff. So let's go down here because I think everybody's wondering if we've got some Chip and Dale. I saw that. Always love those games. Let's see if we've got Mario titles on here because that's what everybody always wants to know, right? There's no way to jump ahead, although there is a search function here, but not within the actual collection. So unfortunately, you have to hold this down for quite a while. I saw some Dig Dug in there. DuckTales, love DuckTales. All right, I'm going to hold this down, see if we can get down to the M's. Or excuse me, the S probably. It'd be Super Mario for this one. Some Gauntlet 2 in there. Bunch of golf games. All right, so we do have Mario Yoshi in here. We've got a couple of Mario titles, but I want to see if we have Super Mario in here. Saw Rambo, I saw RoboCop. All right, so we got Super Mario Brothers 1, 2, and 3 in here, which is really cool. While we're in here, actually, you know what? If I leave off here, we should resume here later. So I want to definitely jump in there and see what the gameplay experience is like. But let's keep it moving. We got Super Famicom in here. We've got Mega Drive in here. We got Game Boy in here, Game Boy Color in here, Game Boy Advance in here. And then we cycle back through the Capcom System 1 and 2 collections and Neo Geo. So these are all on a rotation, but we left off over here with Super Famicom. Let's see what we have. 1,167 games. That's massive in here. Wow. I want to see if we have Donkey Kong Country in here. That's probably my all-time favorite game for this particular collection. So I'm just going to scroll down here. I'm seeing Batman come through here. We've got a lot of amazing titles, and with 1,167 titles, we should have just about everything for this collection. So I just want to see, do we have Donkey Kong Country? That's my all-time favorite. We sure do. Wow. We have Donkey Kong Country, Donkey Kong Country 2. We have a lot of Donkey Kong Country here. We got some Donald Duck titles right above that. So I'm going to back out of this one, and let's just keep it moving, and then we'll jump into the demos here. So Sega Mega Drive is next, which is perfect for this button configuration here. So Mega Drive has 912 titles. Wow. Addams Family Values, love that game, right up there at the top. We've got Aladdin in here, Alien 3, Altered Beast, wow. All right, so I think most people would want to know, all right, do we have Sonic the Hedgehog on here? Because it's Mega Drive, right? It's Sega Classic. Let's actually go down to the bottom. This is in alphabetical order, so it's easy to navigate. We're going to go up rather than down. We have X-Men in here. We've got WWF WrestleMania, Super WrestleMania, WWF Royal Rumble. We've got WWF Raw in here, Wrestle Wars in here. Wow, these are some of my favorite games. All right, let's hold this down. We're going to jump up there to the S titles. Wayne's World just went by. Saw The Simpsons, The Punisher, The Lost World, The Lion King. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles just went by. T2. Bunch of Street Fighter titles. Spider-Man. There we go. We've got Sonic the Hedgehog 1, 2, and 3. We've got a lot of great Sonic titles in here. So let's back out of this Mega Drive collection. We'll keep it moving. We have original Game Boy. We'll go ahead and launch that. 1,142 titles for original Game Boy. We'll back out of this one. We've got Game Boy Color next. For Game Boy Color, we have 1,112 total titles on here. And I mean, look at each title. As we come up, we have a screenshot from the actual game in here as well. So, huge Game Boy Color fan. I mean, I remember road trips in the 90s with Game Boy Color in the back seat. That was my console on the go. We also have Game Boy Advance over here, which I saw. So Game Boy Advance, we got to be over, wow, 762 titles here. Pokemon to start it off. We got a ton of Pokemon games here. Wow. Now this one's not in alphabetical order, which is a little bit odd to me. Or at least it starts out not in alphabetical order, and it looks like maybe it gets into alphabetical order. Let's see. It definitely does. That's strange that the first, few titles are just random, and then from there we end up in alphabetical order again. But very cool. Great selection of titles. Now we have foreign releases as well as US releases on here, which, considering the origin of the handheld here, makes perfect sense. We'll back out, and then we're back to Capcom systems. So great titles in here. I'm blown away by what this has. Let's dive into some games now and see how this performs. That's the only way that this could go wrong for us at this point, but so far so good. Now, before we jump in there, I want to take a look at the battery life on here. So we're at 64%. We did go down quite a bit from 71% just touring through here. I mean, I was pressing buttons pretty much nonstop though, holding them down to scroll through, the game lists and stuff like that. So I could see that being a negative factor here. If you're charging, say, a smartphone as well as playing games at the same time, you may run through that battery really quickly. But other than that, so far so good. So let's dive into some games. All right, guys, we just jumped out of testing the DY19 plug-and-play game console and portable power bank today, and my only concern thus far before diving into the actual gameplay testing was, is the battery going to hold up? Because we went from 71% down to 64% just touring through the different game collections. Seemed like a little bit of a red flag, but I jumped into gameplay for the last 25 minutes, and I'm currently at just 60%. So I only went down 4% in 25 minutes of actual gameplay. So odd that, touring through these collections takes up more battery life than actually playing the games. But if you really think about it, I'm holding down the D-pad or the analog stick, and I'm just rushing through the list. So it is, causing a lot of interactions, I suppose, with the actual device here. So maybe that's what's draining the battery faster than actually playing games, but it is what it is here. I'm blown away by that battery on here, and I actually haven't tested out the, I tried the Type-C side, but let's try the iOS side here with my iPhone 14. There you go, lit right up here, so it is currently charging. I'm at, let's see, 44% on my phone right now, and we're at that 60% on the actual power bank and handheld console. So I'll finish this video, and at the end I'll let you know what the percentage of both of those is, so we can kind of gauge how fast it charges and how fast the battery depletes on the power bank handheld console. So diving into the gameplay experience here, it's a little hit or miss with certain titles and collections. Like Neo Geo, I jumped into, of course, Metal Slug, and because I'm shooting like an absolute madman in that, I did find that there was lag in there. Is it playable? Yes. Would a kid enjoy it? Probably, but somebody like me that grew up playing this game and knows how it's supposed to run, it definitely doesn't, hit the same way. So I think that it just doesn't have enough to effectively emulate Metal Slug. However, I did try some other Neo Geo games and didn't have those issues. So Metal Slug is an intense game where if you're shooting like I do, you can definitely see lag and delay in there. Jumped into Donkey Kong Country for Super Nintendo or Super Famicom and did not have a great experience there. It was a little bit laggy, a little bit slow. Still playable, but not as enjoyable as it should be. Jumped into the exact same title on Game Boy Color. That worked perfectly without any issues whatsoever. So I think that what you would use this for is mainly arcade, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance. NES works perfectly fine on here. Super Nintendo or Super Famicom, I keep saying Super Nintendo. Super Famicom, I think, is a little bit hit or miss. And then Sega Genesis, great experience there. Or Sega Mega Drive, great experience there. Sonic the Hedgehog, without any issues whatsoever. We ran through that game. There's no lags or delays. It just is, from top to bottom, a great experience there. I also want to highlight the resolution on here. I was not expecting this to be a crisp visual by any means with something like this under 30 bucks. The visual on here is absolutely incredible. I mean, super vibrant colors. I'm trying to film a video screen right in front of me with the different lights in here, so it doesn't look as good on camera as it looks in person, but this is absolutely an incredible picture quality here. The volume controls on here are great as well. The buttons, the A, B, X, Y, L, and R buttons, 6-button configuration, very nice buttons on here, very responsive. They pop right back up. Not crazy about the D-pad. It's just a little bit chunky. There's a tall action on there, so you have to push the button down considerably for it to actually engage. It just didn't feel good, so I used the analog stick, and I was a little bit concerned with the top being fat and feeling like it was a little restricted, but it actually performed very nicely here. We have the 3 buttons across the top: select, start, and then reset. To exit your games, you're going to hit your select button and reset button, and it's going to open up a little menu screen, and then from there you can hit quit, and or you can just leave it there to pause the game. So great way to control everything on here. The control deck is really nice. The color scheme is great. I love the visual of being able to tell what battery percentage you're at, and then having the different ports at the bottom here, and then of course the different cables. We have the iOS cable connection right there that I'm using with my iPhone 14, and then we have the Type-C over here on the other side. You pull them out, and then you can just retract them back into place and push them right into the frame here. So really a big fan of this. For under 30 bucks, it's a no-brainer just to have. Even if it just had a couple of games on here, I would use it as a power bank that has a gaming component available to it. But there's an insane amount of games on here, several thousand. I didn't count the total on here, but several thousand games, and I would say several thousand games work perfectly on here. So great experience. Currently, my phone is up to 47%, so we went up a couple percent there. And look at this, 59% on the display right here. I don't know if you guys can see that with the camera, but 59%. So we got a couple percent charged here and only dropped down 1%. It's a good indication that this is a great power bank on here. 10,000 milliamp hour battery inside here. Big fan of what this has to offer. I'm gonna get another one of these. I'm gonna give these to my kids. They're constantly on their tablets in the car. This would be a way for them to actually charge their tablet on the go when the battery depletes, but also be able to use this as a handheld at the same time, or trade it off. So great experience here. Huge fan of what this product offers. Definitely check it out. You guys can click the link at the top of your screen as well as in the description of this video. Highly recommend it because of all the different things that you're able to do from it. So let me know what you guys think in the comments of this video. That is going to do it for today though. Thank you guys so much for watching. You know the deal. Thumbs up on the video if you appreciate the content. And of course, hit subscribe if you haven't already to stay in the loop for all future videos right here on the Chase Brogan YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. See you guys on the next one.